We know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Not only do we know that Donald Trump is not capable of keeping us safe as Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces and the chief law enforcement officer of the country, we know that he doesn't care about it. And every once in a while, more and more now, but every once in a while, he says something and does something to demonstrate that very fact. Yesterday was one of those days. Donald Trump was asked by Peter Doocy, who more and more is asking actual questions after he was attacked by Donald Trump last week. And he was asked about the potential for, the possibility of Iranian terrorist sleeper cells activating within the United States to create carnage and death and destruction because of Donald Trump's attack. And his answer lays bare the original thesis that I opened with. I'm going to share this with you, but I really need to impress upon the audience, you, that we don't live in normal times. That goes unsaid. That's the self-evident nature of this business and the place in history that we are. But Donald Trump, any normal president who wants to leave a legacy of success behind, doesn't act like this. And that's why I contend time and time and time again that he does not intend to leave office. And I know that seems like quite the leap from what you're getting ready to hear him say and me coming to that conclusion. But why else would Donald Trump not be concerned at all about the safety and security of the United States saying things like this? Anyway, watch this and then let's talk about it on the other side. And I got some other clips to demonstrate just what a bad situation we're in.
And if they try to hit us back, have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
I have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
If it doesn't,
they came in through the open border policies of Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst president in the history of our country. And we've got our eyes on all of them. But the war itself is being prosecuted at a level that nobody's seen before. It's pretty amazing to watch.
All right, so let me get this straight. Donald Trump knows where most of them are, meaning the administration knows where these terrorist sleeper cells are, who intend to inflict grave damage on Americans, killing and maiming hundreds, if not thousands, of American citizens. They know where they are. Donald Trump knows where they are. The administration knows where they are. The Department of Justice knows where they are. Kash Patel over at the FBI knows where they are. Then why aren't you arresting them? Why are we not seeing doors being bashed in, warrants being served, arrests being effectuated? Or do you not know where they are? Or do they just not exist at all? That's the question that should have been asked as a follow-up. I have been, and a lot of people came through in Biden with his stupid open border policy. Is that the most pressing issue, is to divert blame? Is to blame someone else for something that hasn't happened yet? Or is it that you don't know anything? See, when Donald Trump wants to act like the strong man, he says, I know all about that. Nobody knows more than me. I'm in charge, large and in charge. Yet when things start to turn, it's a completely different story. Yesterday also he was asked after the United States military concluded an investigation that they conducted, concluding that, American forces, the United States military did indeed bomb a girls' school, leaving nearly 200 people dead, most of them children. And Donald Trump was asked about this, and you'll never guess. Well, you'll guess. Spoiler alert, he doesn't take responsibility. All of a sudden, he doesn't know. When asked about the terrorist sleeper cells, we know all about them. We know where they are. We're keeping an eye on them. I know. Oh, and by the way, your military found out that we bombed a girls' school. I don't know about that.
Report shows, a new report says that the military investigation has found that the United States struck the school in Iran. As Commander-in-Chief, do you take responsibility for that?
That is what?
As Commander-in-Chief, do you...
For what?
For the strike on the school in Iran. A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it.
The good thing is people who were asleep before are waking up to what Donald Trump is, who he is, what he is about, and the things that he finds important. Seeing the juxtaposition between clips like this is waking people up. Yesterday, he was in Cincinnati. He gave a rally in Kentucky. You know, a political rally. That's what you do when you're at war. That's what you do when you're trying to galvanize the base in support of your illegal, unconstitutional war that you promised us during the campaign you would not get us into. But here we are. And in this clip, he's just bragging about himself. I've been raided. We're at war. 8 soldiers dead, hundreds wounded, some gravely. And Donald Trump is out here giving interviews to the press talking about how wonderful he is, that he's been raided and it's never been seen. Nobody's ever seen success like this. Watch this.
We're doing a great job. There's never been a better year for a president. I mean, I've been raided. There has never been a better year for a president, first year, than what we had. That includes the stoppage of 8 wars with a 9th to come. And what we've done, the economy is roaring. It's phenomenal. That's why I'm here. This is an excursion, a little excursion, and I think it's only that. And in that little time, that short period of time, we've taken care of business. We took care of a country that was very dangerous, very bad, would have had a nuclear weapon if it weren't for me and the B-2 bombers and what we did not very long ago. They would have had a nuclear weapon and we would have had levels of problem that nobody has ever seen before.
Tell me you are focused only on yourself without telling me you're only focused on yourself. 8 American families do not have members anymore. 8 American military families have lost loved ones. Children have lost parents. Parents have lost children. And Donald Trump wants you to believe that there's never been a better year for a president. I've been raided. There's never been a better first year than we had. With court striking down illegal, unconstitutional action on the part of this president, them defying the court, the Supreme Court, them getting struck down on their tariffs. Yeah, never been a better year. Breaking promises about regime change wars that we're now embroiled in. You notice he called that an excursion. It's just with his little hand movement. It's an excursion. I don't know what this means. Somebody tell me if you know. A little excursion. Well, Peter Doocy, the Nepo baby over at Fox News, again, asking some questions. He says, you said it was an excursion earlier in the clip I just showed you, I'm presuming. But you've also called it a war. And I love the word choice here by Peter Doocy. So, which is it, he said?
You just said it is a little excursion, and you said it is a war. So which one is it?
Well, it's both. It's both. It's an excursion that will keep us out of a war. And the war is going to be, for them it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easier than we thought.
This is just freewheeling. Which is it indeed, Donald Trump? Is it an excursion or is it a war? Well, it's a war for them, but it was much easier for us. 8 dead, hundreds wounded, some gravely, and it was so easy. So easy for you, Donald Trump, a 5-time draft-dodging coward, a physical weakling. It was easy for you. No sacrifice for you, Donald Trump. No empathy for the families that have suffered the ultimate loss when someone dies. No empathy for the families that are going to be dealing with the crippling injuries that come with combat wounds. Some people will live their lives with handicaps, both physical and also emotional and even mental, neurological. But Donald Trump did better than any president. He's rated so high. And also, he knows where the terrorist cells are, but yeah, you just trust us. Trust us. We're keeping our eye on them. We're not arresting them. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. We're still battling against the algorithm, so please comment below, like this video, share this video, and make sure you're subscribed. Over on Facebook, you can like and follow the Dollemore Daily Facebook page. I would appreciate it very much, and I will see you next time. Pete Hegseth barring photographers from the Pentagon because he doesn't like how he's being depicted. Whatever you do, do not share this video with someone who wants to see goofy pictures of Pete Hegseth. Because I'm going to be sharing some goofy-ass pictures of Pete Hegseth. After yesterday, he banned the media, specifically photographers from the Pentagon, from covering his press conferences because he didn't like some of the pictures that were taken of him. He didn't like how he looks. Let me say a couple of things before I get into this story. One, when you do what I do, when you do what Pete Hegseth does, when you're on camera a lot, anybody at any time could freeze frame, and you're going to look like a goof. At any point, my producer, Chris, could do me dirty. He could put over my shoulder right now all kinds of freeze frames from videos past or in this very video that make me look like a goof. It's not hard to make me look like a goof. When you walk around looking like this, you know, it's bound to happen. But what happened to the traditional masculinity that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth always want to try to convey? What's more traditionally masculine to MAGA, I guess, than being super concerned about what you look like in photos? Look, Pete, listen. Bring it in, brother. Bring it in. If you don't like what your face does, if you don't like how your face looks, I guess change your face. You could join the legions of MAGA morons who get all the plastic surgery and change their face. The Kimberly Guilfoyles and the Laura Trumps and the Kristi Noems and the Alina Habbas and pick one, Melania, Donald Trump himself, Eric Trump, Don Jr., Tiffany Trump, Ivanka Trump. Ugh, just change your face if you don't like how it looks in photos. And also, we don't need Pentagon pictures to make you look stupid. You know you appear in public other places, right, Pete Hegseth? So here's what's going on. Pete Hegseth barring photographers from the Pentagon because he doesn't like how he's being depicted like a masculine warrior with lethality in his heart. This is from The Independent. Pentagon is banning press photographers over unflattering photos of Pete Hegseth. Pentagon implemented a new rule last year that led to mainstream media outlets losing press credentials. So this is just another attack on the free and fair press. Another violation of the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America about abridging the freedom of speech and the free and fair press. Press photographers are no longer permitted to take photos inside the Pentagon press briefing room. They're not allowed to take press photos inside the press briefing room because they hurt Pete Hegseth, the mighty warrior. They hurt his feelings. After several outlets published quote-unquote unflattering photos of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, two people familiar with the situation told the Washington Post. On March 2nd, Pete Hegseth held a press conference with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to brief the press on the U.S. and Israeli military strikes on Iran that killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in February. Shortly after, wire service photographers such as those from the Associated Press, Reuters, and Getty Images published photos of the defense secretary speaking with the media. This is typical for nearly all press conferences held by a government official. But afterward, members of Pete Hegseth's staff reportedly told colleagues they did not like the way the defense secretary looked. Were they not, was it not gender confirming enough for you or what? Is it this a DEI thing or some kind of an attack on trans people? What's going on, little Pete? You feel a little insecure, brother? Are you feeling weak and ineffectual because your face does this when you try to act like a tough guy in photos and in video? Come on. Pentagon spokesperson Kingsley Wilson said in a statement that in order to use the press briefing room effectively, only one representative per uncredentialed news outlet was permitted inside. Quote, photographs from the briefings are immediately released online for the public and press to use. If that hurts the business model for certain news outlets, then they should consider applying for a Pentagon press credential, Wilson wrote. So what they're doing here is having a Pentagon Pete Hegseth employee take pictures, have him go through them, pick the ones he likes, and then release those to the press. The weakness on display from these feckless cowards is infectious, apparently. And then they get the dig in there about apply for a press credential for the Pentagon because they've set new rules where you cannot even quote someone who said something to you unless you go through the Pentagon to have it approved. They want every single member of the press to be a state propagandist, making sure that only the Pentagon's narrative gets reported. That would include the now confirmed by the United States military bombing of a girls' school in Iran, where we killed nearly 200 people, most of them little girls. They would have you take the Pentagon line that, no, we didn't do that. We don't target schools. But we found out now that you did target. We know that you targeted because it's a Tomahawk missile, which is a pre-programmed destination. It's a pre-programmed target. Last year, the Pentagon implemented a new rule for media that required credentialed outlets to agree to a new policy that states reporters cannot gather or publish information from the Defense Department that is not explicitly authorized. That includes declassified information or off-the-record conversations, no matter where the information was obtained. Many mainstream media outlets refused to sign the agreement, finding the new rules oppressive. As a result, major broadcasters such as Fox News, ABC News, CBS News, CNN, and NBC News, legacy newspapers such as Associated Press, New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal, and other outlets lost their Pentagon press credentials. Even fucking Fox News said, nope, that's too much propaganda for us. And now you can't even take pictures of Leaky Pete, the drunken morning show host who is now the defense secretary. What are you afraid of, Pete Hegseth? I mean, you've got your legs covered, you've got pants on, so it's not that people can see the skinny, spindly legs that you have, that I don't know how they're able to withstand even the weight of your slight frame. Is that what it is? Or is it just the goofy looks? Look, let me also say this. Again, being a guy who's on video for hours and hours and hours, thousands upon thousands of hours of me, looking goofy, I'm sure, is that when you are recorded, I record at 30 frames per second. We're really getting in the weeds now. Typically, Pete Hegseth, like when he puts out his stupid little videos, I'm going to cover one later today, he shoots at 24 frames a second. So if you, in 1 second, you got 24 frames, you're bound to look like a goof in one of them, Pete Hegseth. And look, I don't understand the wild, just insecurity of these people. You look how you look. And also, Pete Hegseth's not an ugly. He's a handsome guy, right? Does he feel so lowly and insecure about his looks that he can't have a picture taken that's not flattering? Is Pete Hegseth a 13-year-old girl and we didn't know it? I guess we should ask Donald Trump. Are you attracted to Pete Hegseth? Because, you know, Donald Trump does, after all, have a proclivity to 13-year-old children, right? I don't know. A lot of questions. Few answers. What do you think? You can comment below. I would appreciate the help with the algorithm. We are attempting to break something that has, or fix something that has been broken by YouTube. Our views are down. Our subscriber count is stalled. And I don't know what's going on. So like and share this video, comment on this video, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're feeling generous, go over to Facebook and like and follow the Dollemore Daily over there. The one justification for the possibility that he might want to pardon is the scamming of the American taxpayer for nearly $250 million. Last week, we had some fun poking the bear a little. Well, last week, I had a little fun poking the bear related to Corey Lewandowski and Kristi Noem and their torrid, years-long alleged affair. And the reason is because these people claim to be mighty righteous Christians, obsessed with family values and all of the nonsense, and they're just liars and hypocrites. They want you to live a certain way while they go on and live however they want to, while giving you edicts from on high. And that doesn't just, that doesn't stop at the family values thing. These people are hypocrites in many, many other ways, including fraud, waste, and abuse, and enriching yourself off the federal government. In conservative media, again, taking a swipe at Corey Lewandowski, again, really driving home, even after she's gone, that Kristi Noem was not doing the job while she was there. I hope that there are reporters who are looking into this $220 million boondoggle, this commercial shoot that she did, horseback out in front of Mount Rushmore and putting on all kinds of cosplay outfits like she's some steely-eyed urban assault raid warrior. All of it's nonsense. And I hope that there are journalists out there. I'm getting to the point here. I hope that there are journalists out there who are going to look into this particular deal, this contract, this no-bid contract with a company that just formulated just hours before the bid went out and then secured the contract for $250 million. And I want the press to be looking how much of that money went to Corey Lewandowski. How much of that money went to Kristi Noem? Where are their offshore accounts that are just brimming with public money? Maybe the New York Post is on it. Maybe. I would suspect more like the Washington Post or the New York Times. But here is a wild headline from someone about someone from, again, the New York Post. This is owned by Rupert Murdoch, a sister company of Fox News. The untold reason Kristi Noem's alleged lover, Corey Lewandowski, did whatever the fuck I want at DHS. They are reporting that Corey Lewandowski repeatedly said this to people under the employ of the Department of Homeland Security. And the reason is I can do whatever I want because Donald Trump will pardon me if I get caught. It's not unexpected. It is not surprising, but I maintain that we should always continue to reuse the word, maintain our shock at the level of impropriety and unethical, immoral behavior on the part of these ghouls. So they're so confident in their ability to never have consequence that they're going around telling people this. And it's not one or two sources or three or four sources. There are many, many sources in this article. Embattled Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's top aide and alleged lover, Corey Lewandowski, bragged that he can do whatever, quote unquote, he wanted as a powerful federal official because he believed President Trump would pardon him, the Post has learned. The political pit bull, yeah, you see what I mean? This is what I mean by conservative media. They still want to paint this little boy in a man's body or a man in a little boy's body, depending on your perspective of what Corey Lewandowski looks like. They still want to paint him as some frothing boy. He's a pit bull. He's just a scammer and a liar and a grifter and a emulation of what Donald Trump is. The political pit bull made the remark on multiple occasions tied to his work as a special government employee, sources revealed, in the wake of the DHS duo's downfall. Quote, "I'm not worried. I do whatever the fuck I want. DJT will pardon me," Lewandowski told one of the Post sources last year, making the flippant aside during a discussion about official actions. Another source said Lewandowski, who is expected to leave the department this month alongside Noem, was telling people, this is a quote, was telling people he was going to get a pardon so he didn't have to worry. Four other sources who have worked with Lewandowski said they didn't hear the remark, but that it sounded like something he would say, citing their experience with him. Lewandowski denied, claiming he was free to act with impunity. "Never said that, never asked for a pardon, have no reason to receive one," he told the Post. Both sources who recounted Lewandowski's pardon boast heard it as an all-encompassing declaration of immunity from a wide range of alleged professional and personal misconduct, exemplifying what critics view as a years-long power trip. Now, you may ask yourself, if you are prone to give fairness and charity to these Nazi collaborators, why would he have a reason to ask for a pardon? After all, if he's committing no crimes, there would be no need to seek a pardon or float that idea out there. And the one thing that we keep coming back to, the one justification for the possibility that he might want a pardon, is the scamming of the American taxpayer for nearly $250 million. Fraud on a scale that we rarely see in the federal government from one particular person. There is obviously fraud, waste, and abuse and programs where scammers get involved, and on wide scales they take advantage. But we're talking about $220 million for a single commercial set filmed by this company that had never been a company before the bid went out. This is from NBC News. We'll switch reporting here. Trump has questioned aides about Corey Lewandowski's role in DHS ad campaign, sources say. The $220 million ad campaign was at the center of a pair of contentious congressional hearings last week that led in part to Trump's decision to fire Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary. You see, when Donald Trump is president of the United States, he's the mob boss. And if you're going to be raking in the cash through some kind of a scam, you got to kick up to the mob boss. And if you don't, you're out. Donald Trump thinks of himself as a Tony Soprano type of character. And when Paulie Walnuts isn't kicking up to Tony, there's a problem. And that's where we find ourselves now in this NBC reporting. President Donald Trump has peppered aides in recent days about whether longtime advisor Corey Lewandowski profited personally from a $220 million advertising campaign featuring Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired last week, according to three people familiar with his conversations. Quote, "He's mentioned the ad several times," a senior White House official said, referring to Trump asking questions about Lewandowski's role in the ad contract. Donald Trump at no point has ever said, "I disapprove of that." What he does say is, "I didn't know about it." And therein lies the problem. What isn't said tells you a lot more in this case than what was said. He wanted a kickback. He wanted a little taste, as the vernacular in The Sopranos goes. He wants a taste of that action. And he didn't get it, so she got shit-canned, he got shit-canned, and we will see whether or not investigations provide the information that I believe they will find. I have no evidence of it, only common sense and my ability to recall the many decades of following politics, the many scamsters and liars and fraudsters and thieves in the Republican Party. And the Democrat Party has them too, of course. But it seems to be the order of the day for Republicans now. It's a feature, not a bug. It's standard operating procedure for these people to enrich themselves off of the taxpayer while simultaneously whining and bemoaning fraud, waste, and abuse. Doge, led by Elon Musk, while he is raking in billions of dollars in government contracts. GTFO. H. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below. That'll help trigger the algorithm to start sharing this content like it has stopped doing over the course of many weeks. Our views are down. Subscriptions have stalled. I would ask you, if you are not subscribed, to subscribe if I bring you value. If I'm just somebody that you watch for a laugh because of my stupid face or the sound that comes out of my mouth when I open it, maybe I'm not for you. But if you do appreciate what I do, make sure you're subscribed, share and like this video, comment on this video, do all the things that makes the algorithm happy, and go over to Facebook and like and follow the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily.
Are we in the midst of a severe global oil crisis, Secretary?
We're in the midst of a significant disruption in the short term.
How many times during the campaign did Donald Trump promise that prices were going to come down? He guaranteed it. He guaranteed a lot of shit that he's unable to do, failed to do. He said he was going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. Not like, in my first day I'm going to do it, but he gave a specific, in 24 hours I'm going to do it. That seems, we're outside of the window of 24 hours that he's been president, right? I mean, he's already executed 2 Americans in the streets over exercising their First Amendment rights. He's gotten a lot done, and it's not all good. None of it's good. And as to the promise of lowering prices, gasoline was on his list. Now, typically a president doesn't have much control, little control over the price of oil, over the price of refined oil into gasoline. They all like to act like they take credit for it when it goes down, but then they want to scurry away when it goes up. Just know that they have little impact over that. Except for this moment we're in right now. This is one of the instances where a president has control over the price of gasoline. Not in how low it goes, but how high it goes. Oil tankers are being decimated and sunk and set on fire in the Straits of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical pipeline, not a pipeline. I use that metaphorically, colloquially. It's a major route out to get to the eastern markets with oil. Oil is set on a global oil prices. It's not like we get a price and Japan gets a price. It's all one price. So if there are stoppages that impact the eastern flow of oil, it's going to impact us too. That's where we are. And it's only because of Donald Trump's war against Iran that we are in the problem that we are currently facing, with oil spiking over $100 a barrel right now. And Iran is now promising that it's going to go to $200 a barrel. All because of Donald Trump. This didn't need to happen. He didn't ask permission from Congress, as is demanded by the United States Constitution. And his energy secretary, Chris Wright, was asked about this on CNN this morning by Kate Baldwin. And holy shit. Again, what they don't say tells you more than what they do say. What they leave out communicates a whole bunch. And he is not denying that oil is going to go to $200 a barrel. Imagine where that will put you budget-wise with your family buying groceries, just obviously just putting gas in your car. But your groceries get to the grocery store via semi-truck that needs to refuel with gasoline. And those prices are absolutely going to spike to levels, to coin a phrase, to take a page out of Donald Trump's saying phrase book, the likes of which you've never seen. We've never seen oil at $200 a barrel. This is Chris Wright, asked by Kate Baldwin. Get a load of this very brief answer, and then we're going to go to a longer clip where he does not deny $200 a barrel.
More ships were struck in the Strait overnight. The tankers on fire in the port of Oman. Add it all up. Are we in the midst of a severe global oil crisis, Secretary?
We're in the midst of a significant disruption in the short term to fix the security of energy flow for the long term.
We are in the midst of a significant disruption, in the short term to fix security of energy flow for the long term. They're admitting it's a significant disruption. It got worse. Not even 2 minutes later, she pressed on this, talked about the Iranian claim that oil, at their behest, at their chaos agents, is going to go to $200 a barrel. And his answer does not imbue confidence.
In these few weeks, the question is how hard is the pain and how much are people going to have to endure? Gas prices are going up. Jet fuel prices are jumping, and CEOs are saying that ticket prices are also going to go up. Iran just said that the world should be ready for oil at $200 a barrel. You don't agree with Iran on anything, but do you agree that people need to be prepared for that?
We're going through short-term energy disruption for just huge long-term gain. You're seeing Iran's behavior.
Could that hit? Could short-term mean
region.
$200 a barrel?
I would say unlikely, but we are focused on the military operation and solving a problem. I'm not going to guess on short-term trading. That's based on psychology more than flows of oil. The world is very well supplied with oil right now. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, we're by far and away the world's largest oil producer, by far and away the world's natural gas producer. Both of those are growing.
He was asked a specific question. Do you agree people need to be prepared for $200 a barrel oil? Do you agree that people need to be prepared? We're going through short-term energy disruption for long-term gain. She presses, could it be $200 a barrel? I would say unlikely. Unfucking likely. That's not a no, brother. That's not a no. And let me explain. Let me let somebody else explain. Someone it's in the wheelhouse of a reporter, a senior, I believe, an investigative reporter from CNN. I think that's his title. It may not be. David Goldman, who was on with Wolf Blitzer, explaining exactly what this is going to mean if oil starts to go this high. That just at what metrics, at what stages it starts impacting gas prices and how much. Watch this.
There's one way to look at it, and this is from Mark Zandi, who we've had on a lot from Moody's, who says that oil prices, when they rise $10, that gives you and your household $450 more to pay over the course of the year. So if oil is sustained at a $10 increase, that's $450 more. So that would mean if we stay at this $90 range that we're at right now, oil was $60 before, you're looking at a $1,300 increase for you and your family. Now, this SPR release that you just mentioned, that could help. But remember, the last time that we did this in 2022, about half as much, gas prices only fell around 17 cents over the course of 4 months. So you double that, we might be looking at, over the course of 4 months, maybe we shave 40 cents off the cost of a gallon of gas. That's still not going to help all that much, especially if oil stays at this rate.
That's wild, coming from an administration that promised. You know all the images that you see online? Promises made, promises kept, Donald Trump. Yeah? Is that right? For every $10, your household pays $450 more. Meaning a $90 increase raises at $1,350. Well, if a $90 increase in oil makes it $1,300, what's it going to $200 going to be? Thousands and thousands of dollars that you're going to be paying out of pocket that your family won't have to buy groceries that are going to be higher priced too. On top of the tariff tax that we've been paying more for goods for over a year, or for the better part of a year, since it started, I believe, back in April. More taxes. What happened to the big, beautiful bill? We're going to lower all our taxes and no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips. Lower the taxes for Americans, make it easier for us to pay for things. What happened to that? It's a lie. Because even that's a lie. They're adding to the debt day after day after day after day. And if you don't think that that's true, you're not paying attention, because right now, I'm going to read this headline from Fortune, in 2 paragraphs. The United States is borrowing $50 billion every week. every week, adding to the national debt, $50 billion. And that's on top. That's not even on, that is on top of budget deficits that we're borrowing. Donald Trump, while he's saying that we're going to pay down the national debt and we're going to be richer than ever and things are on fire, we're hot as a pistol, all of this nonsense, they're borrowing $50 billion a week. This is from Fortune. This cannot be sustainable. The U.S. borrowed $50 billion a week for the past 5 months, the CBO says. The U.S. Treasury's borrowing showed no signs of slowing as the U.S. headed deeper into fiscal year 2026, with the Congressional Budget Office reporting that another $1 trillion was added to the federal deficit in the first 5 months of the year. The monthly budget review from the CBO, updated to February 2026, and released yesterday, showed that the government is estimated to have borrowed $308 billion last month alone. And I guess we can add to that the $10 billion he wants to sue the IRS and the Treasury for. Donald Trump himself going to settle out of court with himself. Of course, with more borrowing comes higher interest costs on the debt. Between October 2025, when the 2026 federal year started, and February, the Treasury spent an additional $31 billion on net interest on public debt compared to the prior year. As a result, in just 5 months, the Treasury forked out a total of $433 billion to service public debt, which is now nearing $38.9 trillion, 8 of which came from just 4 years of Donald Trump in office the first time. And they're projecting even higher deficits, adding to the national debt even more this term. The guy who said in an interview with the Washington Post that he would pay off the entire national debt in 4 years his first term. If this is a hot economy, if this is the winning he's talking about, he can have it. He's a liar and a grifter and a charlatan who is enriching himself from the national treasury, from we the people, while claiming that everything is great. Prices are low. There's no problem with the straits, or whatever he said. He wasn't talking about straight people. He was talking about the Strait of Hormuz. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation in the comments. Again, I know I'm talking about it a lot lately, but there's something mysterious going on with views and subscribers, and I don't know if I'm being suppressed or if it's people also in my genre. I've talked to a few creators, and they have also noticed some janky things going on, and you can help me out by making sure you're subscribed and like and comment on this video. Share it with somebody if you feel the spirit move you. I would appreciate it very much. Comment below. We can talk about it here.
I think it was rigged.
There's no evidence. Sir, where's the evidence of
It
that?
wasn't rigged. You're a rotten reporter.
Where's the evidence of that?
So we know Donald Trump is attacking our democracy. We know Donald Trump wants to end democracy in America. After all, he attempted to overthrow the United States government on January 6, 2021 by trying to overturn a free and fair election, thereby ending democracy in America. When you lose an election and you try to stay in office, even though you lost in grand fashion, Joe Biden won by 7+ million more votes. It was a decimation in the Electoral College, and Donald Trump wanted to stay in office. Now that he's back in office, now that morons saw fit to vote for Donald Trump and rubes and naive people who believe the lies of Donald Trump, now that he's back, he's trying to stay. And we're seeing him attack the Georgia election offices. We're seeing him bring cases against Arizona and subpoena other election data relative to the 2020 election. And he was asked about this by Liz Landers, who now works for PBS. She is on this story. She is not letting it go. She asked last week about him declaring a national emergency. I'll replay that for you at the end. But she asked him yesterday about why exactly he's going after the Arizona election and why he's seizing records. And he flips out on her. And this is one of those moments that we need to watch him and what he's doing and how he answers questions and exactly what he says to get an idea of what is to come. Before I get to that clip, though, I want to read you a couple paragraphs from this Guardian article. because if you're not following these election matters, you really should be, because this might end up being the most important story. After all, it is the preservation of our very republic. If we lose our democracy, like Donald Trump likes to say, if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. If you don't have elections, you don't have a democracy. This is from The Guardian. Trump cheers FBI subpoena of Arizona 2020 election records. Request for records related to election audit appears latest part of Trump effort to spread false claims about voting. A federal grand jury subpoenaed Arizona's legislature for records related to the state Senate's widely criticized review of the 2020 election. The state Senate president said on Monday, in what appears to be the latest part of the Trump administration's effort to spread false claims about the 2020 election and voting in the United States. Now, Liz Landers, the clip I'm getting ready to play after one more paragraph here, she is bringing this same kind of energy, because when Donald Trump, when he responds to her, he goes, well, it was rigged. She goes, well, where's the evidence of that? Your AG says it wasn't rigged. It wasn't rigged. There's no proof of it. It wasn't rigged. That's not true. And he flips out. She's bringing the same energy as this article here. Warren Peterson, the president of the Arizona State Senate, confirmed on Twitter on Monday the legislature had received a subpoena related to records of its review of the election results in Maricopa County, the most populous in the state. He added that the FBI has the records. Peterson's comments came after Donald Trump posted an article from the Trump-friendly outlet Just the News about the subpoena and said, "Great!" like Tony the Tiger with 3 exclamation points. Just the News is just a conspiracy website. It's not a news outlet. And this is the clip that I've been talking about with Liz Landers, who is doing a bang-up job, an absolute dogged pursuit of this particular story, becoming the go-to person about matters of elections in the United States. Watch this brief exchange with her, filmed from her cell phone, I think, asking the questions.
Very well with Rwanda and with Congo, and we hope they're going to be they're going to get along.
Sir, in Arizona, why did the FBI seize election records in that state?
Well, they probably thought the election was rigged, right?
It wasn't rigged, though.
Oh, really? How do you know?
Your own Attorney General in 2020 said that there was not measurable voter fraud to change the outcome of the election.
Think it was rigged? I think it was rigged.
There's no, sir. Where's the evidence of that?
It wasn't rigged. You're a rotten reporter.
Where's the evidence of that?
There's a whole bunch here. Almost every line gives you something to really think about and talk about. Why did the FBI seize the election records in Arizona? They probably thought it was rigged, he said. This is a distraction from the fact that he is directing the FBI to do this. He's acting as though, look, they're just independent. They're doing this on their own. They probably thought it was rigged. Nobody thinks it was rigged. Even the people who say it was rigged know it wasn't rigged. We know this because leading up to the 2020 election, Steve Bannon on multiple occasions said, and if he loses, we'll just say it's rigged. And then Donald Trump started saying, if I lose, it's because it's rigged. And then when he lost, that's what he went with. We know. They probably thought it was rigged. She says, it wasn't, though. How do you know? Well, because your attorney general at the time said it wasn't rigged. Bill Barr on numerous occasions. Bill Barr, the chaos agent, obstructionist, wild, radical, conservative, dipshit, Bill Barr, Trump loyalist in almost every way, said it wasn't rigged. And what's he say to that? If you say it wasn't rigged, you're a rotten reporter. And then as he walks away, where's your evidence? That's all we're asking for is the evidence. Donald Trump and his morons had every occasion after the 2020 election, in between the 2020 election and the January 6th certification of that election, to go before courts and present their evidence that was rigged, that it was stolen from Donald Trump. And every single one of those 60 plus cases were thrown out of court. because they did not provide evidence. They had all kinds of claims up in the air, nebulous claims and theories, but there was no evidence because it was all conspiracy. It was all lies. And if you'll remember, this Liz Landers is the one who asked the question last week or 12 or 13 days ago, just about 2 weeks ago, I guess, asking Donald Trump about, do you plan to declare a national emergency surrounding elections? And he doesn't say no. He doesn't say, what? That's crazy talk. Who would do that? I don't need to do that. Everything's great. He said, who told you that? Not who told you that, but who told you that? As though, oh shit, the plan is out. It's being reported on. The jig is up. We're caught. Remember this moment.
It's absolutely, it's a shame.
Sir, are you
Mr. President.
Sir, are you considering a national emergency?
Mr.
Are
President.
you considering a national emergency around the midterm election?
Who told you that?
There's been reporting that there's an executive order, proposed executive order about this. Are you looking at that? Are you considering that?
Mr. President,
What about for voter ID? What about for voter ID?
Mr. President, what's your message?
That is not an answer that inspires confidence. Who told you that is not an appropriate answer, Donald Trump. They are attempting to rig the election in the midterm. We know that because of Donald Trump's order to Texas to redistrict. Thankfully, there were people out there who actually got on the stick and combated that. Gavin Newsom. Several other states have said, we're also going to redistrict. If you're going to do it, we're not going to have mutually assured destruction here. You're not going to steal elections. You're not going to gerrymander all of these districts in Texas. Ultimately, what they ended up doing, though, was diluting the ruby red nature of those districts to make them more able to lose. And we're seeing that now in Georgia. Talked about it yesterday. Marjorie Taylor Greene's old district looks like it could easily be flipped, a district that Donald Trump won by 37 points. If it weren't for, listen, if Donald Trump was governing like a normal person, even like a normal shitty president, they wouldn't be facing the peril at the election that they currently are. But it's because he's acting like he's never going to leave office, that public opinion doesn't matter. He doesn't give a shit what the American people feel about his masked secret police force executing Americans, kidnapping little 5-year-old Liam Ramoses. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about gas prices that are happening right now, approaching $200 a barrel, it seems like it's going to. Doesn't care. He doesn't want to leave. He's not going to leave. He thinks he's not going to leave. Unless, of course, he dies in his sleep, which is what my prediction is for this year. We'll see. Anyway, what do you think? I want your opinion on this story. Let's have you comment below. We are up against the algorithm. I'll quit talking about it, I guess maybe as soon as it stops happening. You can comment below. Make sure you're subscribed, like, share this video with somebody. Go over to Facebook and like and follow the Dollemore Daily. We're almost at 100,000 followers over there. It's been a pretty quick ride. It's all, I have you to thank for it. I appreciate it very much.
For too long, over 20 years, legal shops across the services have grown bloated, duplicative. They've muddied lines of authority and pulled critical judge advocates away from what matters most, advising commanders in the fight.
Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are trying to make it easier for them to commit war crimes and have no pushback. Now, I'm going to play a video of Pete Hegseth that he put out on Twitter yesterday. I'm going to read a tweet from him, and I want to say this before I get to this information. It is ostensibly to just restructure the JAG Corps, the Judge Advocate General Corps, the system of military lawyers. It's ostensibly just to free them up from doing civilian work. We know that's not true. I've got the receipts here to prove that that's not the reason they're doing it. But let me say this. If we take Pete Hegseth at his word, at the very least, what he's doing is unnecessary and costly. And if we read between the lines and think about this from the lens that we should be thinking about things through, not giving these people the benefit of the doubt, understanding what they've done in the past and what their intent is and what their objectives are or very well could be, then it could be very dangerous. It could be him diverting attention or diverting experts and people who set the rules about bombing girls' schools, for instance, which the military found yesterday was our fault, that we targeted the girls' school. We killed nearly 200 people, most of them children, taking a page out of Israel's playbook. We want this to be a genocide. Nobody's going to have a bigger genocide than me. Donald Trump, I guess, is thinking in his head. Who knows? But this is the tweet from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. For over 20 years, legal shops across the military services have grown bloated, duplicating efforts, muddying lines of authority, and pulling judge advocates away from what matters most, advising commanders in the fight. That ends now. And the video, the tweet that you see, I think it's probably, I don't know, over my shoulder, wherever it is. I'm trying to think on the screen. I think it's over here. I froze the frame there because he doesn't like bad photos of him. And the video was playing inside the tweet when I took the screenshot. So that's what you get, Pete. It's the Streisand effect, brother. You see how easy it is to just freeze frame? We don't need Pentagon photographers to get a dipshit looking picture of you. Come on, brother. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Here's the video that was included where I got that screenshot from of Pete Hegseth talking about this. And again, do not give these people the benefit of the doubt. Do not take the initiative that he's getting ready to announce at face value. It would be at your peril. It would be at the folly and peril of the United States itself to take his word for what he's doing and listening to the motivations as though they are earnest. Watch this. I'm going to play the whole video of Pete Hegseth, and I want to hear from you. Those of you who are in the military, those of you who are lawyers, those of you who have expertise in this matter. We need to start focusing on subject matter experts, especially related to matters this important. Watch Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth.
As you know, America's warriors are in the fight every single day, restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding lethality, and reestablishing deterrence under President Trump. We've ripped out the woke distractions, slashed the red tape, and put every asset back into winning wars. But one area still needs a hard reset, and that's how we do legal support in this department. For too long, over 20 years, legal shops across the services have grown bloated, duplicative, they've muddied lines of authority and pulled critical judge advocates away from what matters most, advising commanders in the fight, on operations, in deployed environments where seconds and minutes count. And that's unacceptable. In a great power competition or with any threat that we face, commanders need agile, independent, dead-on legal advice that enables decisive action, not endless process or turf wars. They need JAGs focused on warfighting, military justice, operational law, law of armed conflict, deployed contracting, intel law, cyberspace, you name it. Everything that sharpens the edge in large-scale combat. But right now, military lawyers are sometimes stuck doing civilian side work that belongs to general counsels instead. And that drains readiness and leaves gaps where we can't afford to have them. And that's why today I'm directing the service secretaries, the Army, Navy, and Air Force, through their general counsels and JAGs and the SGA to the Commandant, to execute a ruthless, no excuses review. Scrub it clean. Cut duplication and bureaucracy. Clarify roles and reporting. No more moral ambiguity. Align functions so that military legal stays laser focused on warfighting and readiness. Let civilian lawyers handle non-operational stuff. Acquisitions, civilian personnel, IP, real estate, environmental on bases, litigation outside of military channels. We laid out our recommended split, military matters to JAGs and the SGA, civilian to general counsels, with room for limited shared areas like standards of conduct or FOIA and privacy, if it makes sense for the services. But the priority is maximum support to the warfighter. And this includes reviewing active, reserve, and guard components. Are we using reserve civilian talent smartly? Is guard legal education prepping folks for the full spectrum of operations? Everything gets measured against one standard. Does it make us more lethal in competition, in crisis, or in combat? Reports are due through the Department of War General Counsel in 45 days. delineate functions, review component distribution and education, recommend fixes to kill redundancies and to boost efficiency. And then implement it fast, full changes within 6 months. We preserve independence. JAGs and GCs stay statutory and regulatory bosses in their lanes, and their rating change will reflect that. But independence doesn't mean silos or waste. It means delivering value to the warfighter. Bottom line, sharpen our legal edge to sharpen our warfighting edge. No more distractions, no more shortages in the fight because of misplaced priorities. Our warriors deserve legal teams as lethal and focused as they are. Let's get it done for them and for the country.
Now look, the reason I know this is about something other than freeing up military lawyers from their civilian assignments is because Pete Hegseth put on loan 600 military lawyers to be immigration judges. They're not concerned about diluting the power of the JAG Corps in the military. If they were, they would bring back those 600 judges from duty in immigration courts. This is from the American Immigration Council. Trump administration appoints hundreds of unqualified military lawyers to serve as immigration judges. This week, the Department of Defense approved sending up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges, which would double the total number of immigration judges at the Department of Justice. This is yet another example of the Trump administration diverting military resources away from national security and instead toward its mass deportation agenda. Temporary immigration judges are meant to support, not supplant, permanent immigration judges and are only allowed to serve 6-month renewable terms. The DOD's decision comes days after the DOJ, which oversees the immigration court system, significantly watered down the requirements to serve as a temporary immigration judge. So if we were to listen to Pete Hegseth and take him at his word, I don't know why the fuck you'd do that, but if you were that generous, if you were offering that much fairness and charity to Pete Hegseth, you would want to say, well, let's analyze what he said. Let's go through this and see if it bears the weight of scrutiny. Are there other things that they are offering civilian support for? If they're not going to be polling those 600 judges, that renders Pete Hegseth a liar. And guess what? They're not pulling back those judges, those military lawyers. They are still out there as temporary immigration judges, untrained, to do the bidding of the Department of Justice, which is doing the bidding of the Department of Homeland Security, which is doing the bidding of Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, the shadow president, the actual secretary of the Homeland Security Department, the actual attorney general, the person who gave, by Kristi Noem's own account, gave her marching orders. She says, I do everything at the direction of the President of the United States and Stephen Miller. That's a quote from Kristi Noem. We also know the consternation that Pam Bondi feels not being unleashed to do her job because she's always getting orders barked in her ear by Stephen Miller. All this is problematic. All of this is something we should follow because what he says is going to happen isn't going to happen that way. What he says are his motivations aren't the motivations. The justifications he gives are false. He's a liar. And a goofy looking one at that. Just like your humble host. A goofy looking weirdo. Anyway, I want to hear from you about this. Again, if you have the subject matter expertise, I definitely want to hear from you. You can comment below. Let's have a conversation on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are. Make sure you're subscribed and that you like and follow the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily. Share this video, like this video, comment on this video to help me in my battle against the YouTube algorithms. And I'm sure at some point it'll be Facebook as well. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.